Hello, sweet friend. Have you ever looked down at your legs and felt like they just don't belong to you anymore? Heavy, swollen, as if every step you take is carrying the weight of all your years? I once met a woman who knew that feeling all too well, and what she did about it still amazes me. Her name was Betty Collins, 74 years old, retired school principal from Orlando, Florida. The kind of woman who used to walk through the school halls with energy that could light up a whole building. But lately, her own legs had begun to betray her. What started as mild swelling after long days slowly turned into something much worse. By evening, her ankles would balloon up, her shoes would tighten. And the pain. Oh, the pain was enough to make her dread getting out of bed the next morning. She told me, "I used to stand tall for my students. Now I can barely stand for myself." And that broke my heart, because I've seen it. That quiet frustration so many seniors feel when their bodies begin to whisper, "Slow down." Until one day, those whispers turn into shouts. But Betty wasn't the kind of woman to surrender. What she discovered, a simple natural change in her routine, didn't just shrink the swelling. It gave her back her freedom, her mornings, and her smile. If you've ever battled something similar, let me know below. And don't forget to subscribe if you believe everyone deserves a second chance. Betty Collins was born in the summer of 1951 in a quiet corner of Central Florida. Her father, Harold, was a postman who never missed a day of work. Rain or shine, and her mother, Louise, ran a small bakery from their kitchen window. Betty's teenage years were marked by quiet determination. While others dreamed of escape, big cities, fast cars, adventure, Betty dreamed of purpose. She wanted to teach, to be the kind of person who could lift others the way her teachers once lifted her. Her first real taste of independence came when she earned a small scholarship to study education at the University of Florida. Packing her suitcase felt like stepping into a brand new life, one that was both thrilling and terrifying. "It was the first time I ever felt the world was bigger than my little hometown," she told me. And with that, Betty Collins set out to find her path, guided not by fear, but by faith in where hard work could take her. College life was everything Betty had imagined, and everything she hadn't. Gainesville was alive with noise and movement, filled with ideas that stretched far beyond the world she knew. For the first time, she met people from different states, backgrounds, and beliefs. She felt both small and limitless at the same time. Betty threw herself into her studies, majoring in education and minoring in psychology. She believed that to teach well, you had to understand the human heart as much as the human mind. But those years weren't without detours. Money was still tight, so she worked evenings at the campus library, shelving books and sneaking in reading between shifts. It was during one of those quiet evenings that she met Thomas Collins, a tall, soft-spoken engineering student with an easy smile and a habit of whistling old country songs while he studied. They started as friends, trading notes and late-night coffee, but soon found themselves building something deeper, the kind of steady, patient love that grows like roots before it blooms. After graduation, Betty accepted her first teaching job at a small elementary school near Orlando. The pay was modest, the classrooms were old, and the resources were few. But she loved every moment of it. She poured her heart into those children, often spending her own money on supplies just to see them learn and smile. Then life took another turn. Thomas got a job offer in Orlando too, and before long, they were married in a small church surrounded by family and laughter. "We didn't have much," she said, "but we had each other and a coffee pot that never went empty." Those were the golden years, full of hope, long days, and quiet dreams. Neither of them knew then that life, as it always does, had a few detours ahead that would test every ounce of that strength and faith they'd built together. Betty and Thomas settled into their first small home in Orlando. ATE, one-story house with creaky wooden floors and a magnolia tree that shaded the porch every summer. It wasn't fancy, but it was theirs. Betty called it the house that love and lesson plans built. Teaching quickly became her calling. Her mornings started before sunrise. The smell of coffee, the sound of chalk tapping the board, and the laughter of children who trusted her completely. Every student was somebody's whole world, she used to say, so I treated them that way. Her dedication didn't go unnoticed. Within a few years, she moved from classroom teacher to department head, and later, assistant principal. Thomas, on the other hand, built a steady career in civil engineering. Their lives ran on parallel tracks. Long hours, shared dinners, and the occasional weekend escape to Daytona Beach, where they'd walk barefoot in the sand, holding hands like two dreamers who never grew up. When their first child, Emily, was born, Betty learned the meaning of exhausted joy. Between diaper changes and lesson plans, she found herself balancing motherhood with ambition. 2 years later came their son, Michael, loud, curious, and always asking questions about everything. Life became a blur of school events, scraped knees, PTA meetings, and laughter that filled the home like sunlight. But as beautiful as those years were, they came with sacrifices. Betty often stayed up grading papers long after everyone was asleep. She'd whisper to herself, "Tomorrow, I'll rest." But tomorrow always brought another responsibility, another promise to keep. Still, she wouldn't have traded it for anything. "Those years made me who I am," she told me. "They taught me that love and purpose don't come easy. You have to build them one day at a time." Still, she wouldn't have traded it for anything. "Those years made me who I am," she told me. "They taught me that love and purpose don't come easy. You have to build them, one day at a time." Little did she know, those long years of giving and going would one day come back to test her strength in ways she never expected. The first storm hit when Betty was in her mid-40s. Thomas lost his job during a company downsizing, and the steady rhythm of their lives began to falter. Bills piled up, and the security they had worked so hard for seemed to slip through their fingers. Betty took on extra hours at school, tutoring in the evenings, managing after-school programs, anything to keep things afloat. But the real blow came when her father passed away. She had always been his little girl, and losing him left a silence in her heart that no busy schedule could fill. "It was the first time I realized," she said softly, "that life doesn't wait for you to be ready." Thomas eventually found work again, but their marriage had endured its share of strain. They had weathered it quietly, holding on through faith, routine, and the memory of all they'd built together. Yet somewhere in that struggle, Betty began neglecting herself. Her days were spent caring for students, colleagues, and family. Everyone but her own body. She started skipping meals, sleeping less, and brushing off the small aches that began whispering warnings. Then came the leg swelling, subtle at first. She thought it was just exhaustion from standing too long, a teacher's burden. But as months passed, the swelling grew worse. By evening, her ankles puffed up, her shoes tightened painfully, and she'd prop her legs on pillows just to ease the throbbing. Doctors called it venous insufficiency, a common issue among women who spent years on their feet. But for Betty, it wasn't just medical, it was personal. "I'd spent decades standing for others," she said. "And suddenly, I couldn't stand for myself." That realization became her turning point. The moment she finally understood that even the strongest souls can break when they forget to care for themselves after those difficult years. Betty's resilience became her armor. She poured herself back into her work, determined not to let life's setbacks define her. Her leadership, compassion, and ability to inspire both teachers and students earned her the position of principal at Jefferson Elementary, the very school where she once taught first grade. It was a full-circle moment. one that filled her with quiet pride. She became a figure of admiration in her community. Under her guidance, graduation rates improved, classrooms brightened with color and creativity, and the teachers felt seen and valued. Betty didn't just run a school, she nurtured it like a family. She believed education wasn't just about lessons, it was about lifting spirits. But success, as she would later tell me, often comes with a hidden price. Long hours turned into long years. She skipped lunches, ignored fatigue, and brushed off the swelling in her legs that had become her daily companion. At school, she smiled through the pain, walking the halls with her signature calm grace. At home, she collapsed into her recliner, her legs heavy and aching. Thomas would often say, "You give the world too much." "Betty," she'd just laugh softly and reply, "Well, somebody's got to keep it turning." Her children had grown up and moved away. Emily to North Carolina, Michael to Texas, and while she was proud of them, the empty house made the evenings feel longer. Her body, once strong and steady, began whispering reminders of all she'd endured. The swelling became more frequent, her energy less reliable. Still, she kept going. "I thought slowing down meant giving up," she told me. "I didn't realize it was the only way to heal." The climb had given her recognition, but it also quietly took what she valued most, her health and peace. And soon, she'd have to face both head-on. By her early 60s, Betty's life began to shift. Not all at once, but in gentle, undeniable ways. Retirement started as a distant thought, something she believed was meant for other people. "I used to think I'd teach until the day I couldn't stand anymore," she laughed, not realizing how close that truth would come. Her children were grown with families of their own. Weekends were filled with phone calls, photos of grandkids, and the occasional visit that left the house echoing with laughter again. But when they left, the silence returned, a reminder of time's quiet passage. She started noticing small changes, getting winded more easily, her legs feeling heavier after short walks, and her ankles swelling even on restful days. The Florida heat didn't help. She'd sit on her porch, sipping iced tea, looking out at the magnolia tree that had watched her grow older. "That tree's been through every season with me," she said. "But lately, I felt like winter had come early." Betty began reflecting on her life. All the children she'd taught, the lives she'd touched, the decades she'd spent standing for others. She felt grateful, but also weary. Her body was demanding rest, and her heart was quietly asking for gentler days. When she finally retired, it felt bittersweet. Her colleagues threw a party, showering her with flowers and laughter. But beneath the joy, she hid the truth, that she could barely stand through the ceremony without her legs throbbing in pain. "I thought once I stopped working, the swelling would fade," she told me. But it didn't. It only got worse. That was the beginning of a new chapter, one not defined by her career, but by her battle to reclaim the body and life she'd given so much to. Retirement. At first, felt like stepping off a moving train. After decades of early mornings, ringing bells, and endless faces, the quiet seemed almost too loud. Betty would wake up at 6 a.m. out of habit, brew her coffee, and sit by the kitchen window, watching the sunrise spill over her garden. The magnolia tree stood tall, steady as ever, reminding her that roots, much like people, deepen over time. She tried to fill her days with meaning. She joined a local reading club, volunteered at the library twice a week, and spent weekends baking for her neighbors. But even with these gentle joys, something didn't feel right. Her legs, once her strength, her foundation, were beginning to betray her more than ever. The swelling no longer came just after long days. It arrived without reason, staying for hours, sometimes days. "I thought I was just aging," she told me. But it felt like my body was aging faster than the rest of me. Doctors called it chronic venous insufficiency. Her veins weren't pumping blood properly from her legs back to her heart. The words sounded simple enough, but the pain was not. By evening, her legs would feel like they were filled with lead. She had to sit down to cook, to garden, even to shower. Some nights, she couldn't sleep because of the pulsing ache that crawled from her calves to her knees. Still, she smiled for others. She didn't want to be the complaining grandma. She'd wave to neighbors, water her plants, and pretend she was fine. But inside, she was frightened. The woman who once stood tall for classrooms of children could now barely walk to her mailbox. And that's when she realized slowing down wasn't just about retirement. It was her body's plea for mercy, a whisper to finally start caring for herself the way she had always cared for everyone else. It was a humid afternoon in July, the kind of Florida day where the air feels thick enough to drink, when Betty hit her breaking point. She had planned to visit a friend across town, but as she stood up to get ready, she felt a sharp, burning pain shoot through her calves. Her legs looked swollen and bruised, the skin tight and shiny. "I remember staring at them," she said, and thinking, "These can't be my legs anymore." She tried elevating them, massaging them, even soaking them in Epsom salt. Nothing worked. By the next morning, she could barely walk to the kitchen. Every step sent a dull ache up her thighs. Tears welled up in her eyes as she thought, "Is this how it ends? Is this my life now?" For weeks, she hardly left the house. Her world shrank to the few feet between her recliner and the window. She missed her garden, her Sunday walks, even grocery shopping. The loss of movement felt like the loss of freedom. "When you can't move," she whispered, "you start to disappear." Her doctor suggested compression stockings, mild medication, and less salt in her diet. But the relief was minimal. The swelling would go down for a day, only to return by nightfall. She grew frustrated, exhausted, and quietly afraid. Then one morning, her daughter Emily called. She could hear the worry in her voice. "Mom," Emily said gently, "you've spent your whole life fixing other people's problems. Maybe it's time to fix yours." Those words hit her harder than she expected. That evening, Betty looked at herself in the mirror, at her tired eyes and aching legs, and made a promise. "If there's a way to heal naturally, I'll find it." That moment, that single decision to fight back, became the turning point that changed her life forever. Betty's search for healing began quietly. One sleepless night when pain kept her from resting, she turned on the lamp beside her bed and reached for her tablet, something she rarely used except for family photos and recipes. That night, she started searching. Natural ways to reduce leg swelling. What she found was a flood of advice. Some confusing, some promising. But one article caught her attention. The hidden power of circulation foods and simple movement. It mentioned how certain foods, like beets, ginger, pineapple, and leafy greens, help improve blood flow and reduce inflammation. It also talked about something called the ankle pump routine, a simple exercise that could boost circulation for people who spend long hours sitting or standing. Betty sat there, reading line by line, her hope flickering back to life. The next day, she called her neighbor, Claire, a retired nurse, and shared what she'd found. Claire smiled knowingly. "You're on the right track, honey," she said. "I've seen patients turn things around just by changing what they eat and how they move." That conversation lit a spark in Betty. She started learning more, watching health videos, reading articles from places like the Cleveland Clinic and Johns Hopkins Medicine, both confirming that diet and circulation-friendly habits could truly help. She even kept a small notebook titled My Healing Plan. Her plan was simple. Start each morning with a glass of warm lemon water to reduce bloating. Eat foods rich in antioxidants and natural diuretics. Berries, cucumbers, and celery. Add beets and ginger tea to her daily meals for improved circulation. practice ankle pumps and gentle leg lifts 3 times a day. I wasn't chasing a miracle, she told me. I just wanted my legs to feel like mine again. And with that quiet determination, Betty took her first small but powerful step toward healing. The first week of her new routine wasn't easy. Her legs still throbbed by evening, and she doubted whether something so simple could really help. But Betty stuck with it. Each morning she brewed her ginger tea, a comforting warmth that seemed to wake her body from the inside out. She'd sip it slowly on her porch, watching the sunlight dance across the magnolia leaves. Her meals became brighter too. Colorful salads with beets and greens, grilled salmon with lemon, and fresh pineapple slices that reminded her of summer fairs from her childhood. I started eating like I loved myself again, she said softly. Every day, she practiced her ankle pumps and leg lifts. Just 10 minutes in the morning, 10 before bed. She even kept a little timer next to her recliner. By the second week, she noticed something. Her shoes didn't feel as tight. The swelling around her ankles had gone down slightly. It wasn't dramatic, but it was enough to make her believe again. She also began walking short distances, just down the block and back. Her neighbors cheered her on, and Claire often joined her, reminding her to keep her legs elevated afterward. The routine became a rhythm, a kind of quiet prayer. By the end of the first month, her transformation was undeniable. The swelling had reduced, her legs felt lighter, and she was sleeping through the night without pain. Even her doctor was surprised. "Whatever you're doing," he said, "keep doing it." Betty smiled and thought to herself, "I'm not just healing my legs, I'm healing my life." She told me, "When you treat your body with patience, it starts to trust you again." If you've ever tried something similar, a small natural change that made a big difference, share your story in the comments below. Someone out there might need the hope you can give. 6 months later, Betty's life looked completely different. Not because she found a miracle, but because she became one. The woman who once dreaded standing now began each morning with a walk around her garden. She'd stop by her favorite rose bush, take a deep breath, and smile. "I used to wake up in pain," she told me. "Now I wake up in gratitude." Her swelling had almost disappeared. Her legs, though older, felt lighter and more alive than they had in years. The redness faded, the tightness eased, and the throbbing that once kept her up at night had become a distant memory. But what truly changed was her spirit. Betty started helping others in her community, visiting senior centers, sharing her healing notebook, and teaching simple exercises that could be done from a chair. "You don't have to give up just because your body slows down," she'd say. "You just have to learn how to listen to it." Her daughter Emily often called to tell her how proud she was. "Mom," she said one afternoon, "you sound happier than you've been in years." And Betty laughed softly. "That's because I finally started taking care of the woman I used to put last." Looking back, she said she wished she had paid attention to the small signs earlier, the heaviness, the fatigue, the swelling. But she was grateful she finally did something before it was too late. "Your body keeps score," she told me, "but it also forgives if you give it a chance." Now, when Betty walks through her neighborhood, she moves slowly but with grace, not rushing anywhere, just thankful to be walking at all. If this story inspired you, like this video. And if you believe in second chances, don't forget to subscribe. Because sometimes healing doesn't come from medicine alone. It comes from believing you deserve to heal. You know, every person I meet teaches me something new about life. And Betty's story reminded me that it's never too late to heal, to change, or to start again. She showed me that even when the body weakens, the spirit can grow stronger. If only we listen to what it's been trying to tell us all along. So, if you're out there struggling with something, maybe pain, maybe doubt, remember Betty. Remember that small steps can can lead to big changes. And sometimes, the gentlest remedies can bring the deepest healing. Thanks for listening, my friends. Until next time, stay healthy, stay hopeful, and keep walking toward better days.